Another team today in the build-up to the big events, to Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner My 11 Circle. And we're looking today at a team that, much like the character of the city was when I was growing up there, makes no changes. It goes along pretty much very predictably. As you would have imagined, we are talking about Hyderabad. This is a side that has made 5 playoffs in 5 years. And that is not something to be scoffed at. We don't talk enough about Hyderabad, I think, but year upon year upon year, they make the playoffs and they are one of the nicest teams and they're one of the most popular teams going around. They won 16, they made a final in 18, and they've been a wonderful side, and they've done that playing pretty much the same side. So let's look at who they've let go then. Because the changes that you make are always tactical, just to fill in a little breach that you might have noticed somewhere, and there was one in 2020. So who have they let go? They've let go of Fabian Allen and Billy Stanlake. They were there in the side, they're good players, but they were not getting a game. There's no point having them because they realized the great value that Jason Holder was bringing to the side. Who have they brought in then? Mujib as a backup in case you really need more spin bowling option. They've brought in Suchit for that reason as well. But I think the best tactical purchase that they've made is Kedar Jadhav, and I'll explain that as we go along. First, let's look at the strength of Hyderabad then, and the strengths hit you in the face there. The best batsman day in, day out in the history of the tournament has been David Warner. We say 400 run bank, you're a good player. 450, you're a very good player. 500 is you're a special player. David Warner has delivered 500 plus every year for the last 5 years. A couple of times he's gone 600, he's gone 800 in 1 year. Last year, you thought, was Warner really making an impact? He made 540 runs at a strike rate just under 140. That is what David Warner brings to us, to a side. Then there's Rashid Khan. Ever since he came in 2017, he's been the life and soul of this franchise. Last year, 20 wickets at 5.37. Overall, just over an economy rate, just over 6. More wickets than anyone else except Bumrah. You look at Rashid, and there's this smiling, chubby player, but he delivers, and his batting is getting better and better. There's one other big factor for Hyderabad this year, and that was an absence that they felt last time. And that is that Bhuvneshwar Kumar has come back fit and had a magnificent T20 series against England, to the extent that you were starting to look upon Bhuvi like you were starting to look at Bumrah. When is Bhuvi going to come back? Bowling well at the top and still holding his own at the death. When Bhuvi does well, Hyderabad do well. And so you have Warner, you have Rashid, you have Bhuvi, and this is a wonderful triumvirate to have. What else is going for Hyderabad? Natarajan. If Nattu can deliver, then everyone calls him Nattu. You've got Natarajan, you've got Bhuvneshwar, you've got Rashid. Sandeep Sharma is another person who just flies under the radar every year. His record over the last few years has been nothing short of fantastic. You've got 4 quality bowlers in there. That means you just need to find one more, and you've got a very good bowling side. Traditionally, Hyderabad plays well with a good bowling side. There's another factor, I keep talking about this, another factor that's going in their favor, and that is that this is a strange tournament that's been played in different parts. And where do Hyderabad play most of their matches? Just take a look at this. They start with 5 in Chennai, 4 in Delhi. That's 9 out of the 14 on slowish grounds. Then they go to Kolkata and Bangalore, high scoring grounds. So I think we've got to look at a 150 kind of team for Hyderabad and a 180 kind of team for Hyderabad. And the reason I mention this is I think they've got options everywhere. One of the issues last time was they didn't have a second spin bowling option. You can play Shahbaz Nadeem, yes, you got Abhishek Sharma, yes, you got a little bit of Samad, yes, but they really didn't have a spin option. And I think they could very well use one player in a powerful role this year who's always been around, but they don't use him that much, and that is Mohammad Nabi. So let's look at what I think is a really good starting 11 for them for that 150 kind of game. Jonny Bairstow. how can you have a side with no Jonny Bairstow? But you really do need Williamson, because I think from 4, Williamson can control the second half like he did when he got back last time. So my side is Warner and Saha at the top, Pandey at 3, Williamson at 4. Then I'm going to talk about that tactical change. I think Kedar Jadhav there at 5 in a no pressure situation with that kind of batting above him, and you got 2 strikers to follow thereafter, I believe. So we've got Samad, and I think they will play Mohammad Nabi. Nabi is a fearsome striker of the ball and on good tracks can give you 4 overs as well. So that is my top 7. 8, 9, 10, 11 looks after itself for Hyderabad with Rashid, Sandeep, Bhuvneshwar and Natarajan. So with this 7, I think it covers all bases. It's got Warner at the start. It's got Williamson to control the middle. It's got Jadhav. Even if he plays those cameos, that's fine. It's got lovely finishers in Nabi, and I really do rate Samad. And it's got a flyer at the start in Riddhiman Saha. So I think this side is really good to go the distance. When they come to the 180 games, then I think they've got a pretty good side as well. This is my side for a 180 kind of games. You start with Warner and Bairstow. Then Pandey, I still think Jadhav can play the role at 4. He had a pretty good Vijay Hazare, remember. Then Jason Holder to bat at 5. Samad and maybe Vijay Shankar in there with a little bit more seam bowling support. And then the 4 at the end. That leaves one thing to talk about for Hyderabad. An expensive, big ticket Indian top order player. He has to deliver. And I think Manish Pandey has to deliver. I think Hyderabad have been really good with Manish Pandey. I think they've given him the numbers that they want. When he wanted to be 5, he had that role. When he wanted to be 3, they had that role. And Williamson came back, Pandey still stayed at 3. Williamson moved to number 4. And I think this is the year when Pandey's got to deliver a blockbuster year for them. And if Pandey can deliver a blockbuster year around Warner and Williamson and everybody else, wow, what a year it'll be. It's always a tricky one when you're looking at an X-Factor player. When you look at an X-Factor player, you're not looking at a Warner, at a Rashid, at a Bhuvi. These are giants. These are not X-Factors. But can someone who can come in tactically, deliver a couple of overs here, get a big 20-25 at the end? I'm actually going with someone who had nothing to do with Chennai, but I think can be a good player for Hyderabad. I'm going with Kedar Jadhav. I'm looking at this side and saying it covers all the bases that you need to cover. It's a side that is very, very well led, whether it's Warner at the top or Williamson leading them. The two of them share enormous respect for each other. It's a side that's fairly predictable, and it's a side that covers all bases. Will they make the playoffs? I think if they don't, they'll be very disappointed.